Welcome to the experience of the Triple T Josie Gray Show, where truth and transparency in life's challenges bring help, hope, and healing.
Listen now as Josie tells the truth about personal growth and spirituality, relationships, health, and finances.
Tell the truth, Josie. Well, thank you so much for joining the Triple T Josie Gray. This is Josie Gray. And yes, thank you so much for that introduction as well. Well, today we have an amazing surprise for you. We have a guest. I have my daughter on the show with me, and she's going to be interviewing me. Now, what she does not know is I am also going to be interviewing her. Now, this is a tribute to Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of you phenomenal ladies out there. And you know what? Also, happy Mother's Day to you guys as well. Because we have so many men that are also, or who have also taken on the role of being a single dad. So please know you're not forgotten. You are most appreciated and you are celebrated. Now, in light of that, Chyna has some questions she's going to be asking me. So hold on. I think we're getting ready to go for a ride. All right, Chyna, say hello.
Hi.
She's a little camera shy, y'all, but she'll get out of it. All right, let's go for it.
Okay, so Mommy, what is your greatest joy about being a mother?
Oh, wow. My greatest joy about being a mother is really all three of my children. Of course, you know, everybody's going to say that, but let me make it make a little bit more sense. Each one of you all had different joys that you brought to my life. And as I'm watching you all grow up and, you know, starting to mature, starting to take on your own lives, your own little characteristics when you were younger, your own personalities, and the things that you grew through, it's a joy to watch you all overcome things. So the greatest joy for me is knowing that I had part in that. Now, I'm not going to say I did everything right, because I didn't. But on the flip side, I didn't do everything wrong. And I think a lot of mothers, we're hard on ourselves. When we get older and we look back, you know, sometimes it's easy to regret and easy to beat yourself up because you didn't do everything right. And with you, I had to learn a lot of things because I was still a little girl myself. So hopefully that answers that question. What else you got for me?
Okay, so what was the hardest thing you experienced about motherhood?
Oh, that's a good one. The hardest thing I experienced about motherhood was actually letting go. Because, you know, and you're going to learn this. Your babies are young right now. But the hardest thing about motherhood was understanding that I cannot control your life. There are things I can steer you in and I can direct you in, but you have to make your own decision. And when I say you, I mean Jasper, I mean Josiah. And many times, especially being the way that I was brought up and raised, we were pretty much, there was like a tight rein on us. And there were things we wanted to do and goals and aspirations, and we were big dreamers, at least I know I was. And one of my sisters, we used to talk about it. But we never accomplished those things or even pursued them because the rein on us was so tight. So I grew up with that type of mentality, and I kind of pushed it over into my own motherhood. Things that I said I would never do to my children that were done to me, I did. So that was one of the hardest things about motherhood that I experienced, kind of reliving what was done to me doing it to you all, and then having to realize, wait, stop, you gotta let go, because you can't control their lives and tell them what to do, what not to do, especially when you all were getting older. You know, I can discipline you and things like that when you were younger, but when you start to get older and you're taking on your own, those teenage years, those teenage years starts to really show who you really are becoming. And so that was the hardest thing for me.
Okay. So what do you think the difference now, or the differences now versus when you first became a mom?
Now versus back then? Oh, okay. I would say I'm wiser. I'm more mature. More seasoned. I'm less rigid. You know, I was really hard back then, you know, because you were the first child, bless your heart. I have grandbabies. And, you know, when you have grandchildren, they give you a whole nother sense beyond just parenthood. It's a lot of things they get away with. And you know, I'm still kind of tough on Mason and Kinley, but they get to get away with a lot of things y'all can't get away with. I would say, you know, looking back, I can remember and still see some of the effects that, you know, my motherhood and my parenting had on you all. Some positive, some negative. You know, and there were things that I was taught that were generationally embedded in and inbred in me that, like I said a few seconds ago, I just pushed right on over into my relationship with you all. My responses, my behavior, you know, the commands and the demands, you know, things that I saw when I was coming up, that the way I was handled. Because see, I grew up without my mom. I grew up with my grandmother. I didn't have my mother to teach me things about womanhood and teach me things about motherhood. I had my grandmother, and we all know that most grandparents from that era were rigid. They were tough. They were the ones that were in the cotton fields, in all honesty. They were the ones that grew up in the era that we're now starting to see trying to resurface itself. So, you know, they came up in the times when things weren't fair. So they trained us and they built in us and inbred in us certain things to do with their children and make sure they didn't do things that were going to take them down a path that was just unacceptable. It was like taboo in a lot of areas. So, you know, now I'm wiser, and I really don't see doing and treating my grandchildren the way I treated you all, especially you, because you were the first child. And ironically, I was toughest on you, but I would say you're the child that's more of a mommy's girl than either of the other two. It's kind of funny. I was toughest on you, but I would say you're the one that probably after you got older, you appreciated, even though I didn't do everything right. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay, so this one might be tough. Would you say that you treated all of us differently?
Absolutely. I'll be honest about that. I did. But I don't apologize for that, and here's the reason why. Because no two children are the same. You find it out with Mason and Kinley. It doesn't mean you don't love them the same, but you don't treat them the same because they're two different children with two different characteristics, two different ways of handling things and responding to things. So there were times when love had to be tough. Now, I will say, Jasper was the child that was spoiled, in my mind, probably more than anybody. Because by now, I'm looking back, she's the middle child, you know, Josiah hadn't came along then. I'm looking back at how hard I was on you, so I didn't really have a balance. I didn't really know how not to go from one end of the spectrum to totally the other end. I didn't have a balance. So Jasper got away with what you would probably call murder. Would we disagree? I thought not. So, in that being said, then along comes Josiah. Now, by this time, he's a boy. So I already know I can't be as easy on him as I was Jazz. And then when Jazz got older, that's when I started being harder on her. But it was kind of to the point where now it was challenging to steer her because in her most precious years, I was too easy on her. Now, I confess that. But Josiah probably got a little bit more of a balance out of me because I was older. I had two of you all to practice with that I didn't have with him. So, no, I didn't treat y'all the same. I definitely treated y'all differently, but I always loved you the same. And see, sometimes love must be tough. So, in that being said, we move on to the next question.
Well, I mean, you just said that you loved us all the same, so
I did.
I don't need to ask that. Okay, so what is your biggest regret of becoming a mother?
Ooh. What is my biggest regret in becoming a mother? I heard Jada Pinkett Smith say something, and I quote, she said, expectations will steal the gifts that are in front of your, or right in front of you. Yeah, expectations will steal the gifts that are right in front of you. And I end that quote. And like I said, you were my firstborn. I was hardest on you. There were some things that took place that looking back now, I realized, but I didn't realize it then. You were like this little girl filled with all these ideas and all this joy, and you were just happy-go-lucky. You were bouncing around, your little pigtails were all up in the air. you know, you walked on your tippy toes, so, you know, it was just hilarious just to watch you. You had so much life and joy, and you walking around on your little tiptoes. Hard to buy you some shoes, by the way, but anyway, that's another story. And you were a baby born to a little girl. And what I mean by that is I was 19 years old, but I had no clue who I was. I didn't know why I was here. I didn't know about motherhood because, like I said, I didn't have a mother to teach me. I had a grandmother. And, you know, I have a sister who, of course, is your aunt, who was there. She was doing the best that she could. She had the same examples that I had. She just had my mom a little longer than I did, since our mom got killed at 2. And I'm spoiled. I'm the baby of the family. Everywhere I went, the pastors had me spoiled, my daddy had me spoiled, my grandmama had me spoiled, my sisters and brothers had me spoiled. So when you came, let me back up, your daddy, who was my husband at the time, had me spoiled. Your grandparents, who were my in-laws at the time, my ex-in-laws now, they had me spoiled. So everywhere I went, everybody had me spoiled. Nobody, my godfather had me spoiled. Nobody really told me to grow up. And that being said, when you came along, it was like all that love and attention that I was getting was reallocated to you. And I couldn't understand that because I'm still a little girl in a semi-grown woman's body. Although technically I was grown, I was married with kids. But in my mind, I'm still wondering, wait, this does not compute. Why I don't get this and why y'all don't give me that anymore? It was all going to my firstborn. Makes sense now, but it didn't make sense back then. So I was shook. I didn't know how to take that. You know, I mean, I'm like, looking back at it now, I realized I was unconsciously, or maybe the word is one of them, unconsciously, competing with you for attention because I didn't know no better. I was just trying to find my identity. And that part of me that was looking for affirmation, I wasn't really getting it, and looking for attention, I wasn't getting it anymore. It was going to you. So, yeah, Jasper and Josiah brought other things that, you know, I didn't really have the experience with you. So my biggest regret is not maybe looking into books, looking into how I could grow up, looking things that y'all have now, I didn't really have back then, you know, books and the internet in the magnitude that we have, looking for ways, that we had the library, on growing, parenting, things I could have done to better myself, to better prepare how to help build and grow and impart and steer you. I didn't do that. That's my biggest regret. You know, treating you the way I would a little sister who had replaced me in a lot of areas, and not really growing up to take on the motherhood. Don't get me wrong, we had plenty of fun and things like that, but I was, like I said, I was shook. I didn't know how to take that, and I didn't have anybody I could talk to because I didn't know how to voice it. I didn't even know it was there. Looking back now, I can say it was there, but I didn't know then. Yeah, whole thing, really. Okay, what's the next question?
So they'll ask this, from your experience, what would you like to leave with your viewers?
From my experience, what would I like to leave with my viewers? I'd like to say this. I want to encourage everyone, whether you're a mother currently, or you're an up-and-coming mother because you're expecting, or you want to be a mother, female, or like I said, even men. Because we have such a different type of society now where the roles have been totally changed. I want to encourage you to do what you can that I didn't do to build and grow yourself so that you can leave a better generation for tomorrow. Because you all become what you see in us and what you're taught from us. But more than anything, you become what you've experienced through us. We can't just tell a child, do this, do that, blah, 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 but they see us doing something differently. You all do what you see. And I want to commend you because now you're listening to me, not just as a mother, but kind of borderline of a friend, because you have children. And I am so proud of you and what you're doing with your children, because I watch how you discipline them. You don't do what I did to you. I remember I would go from 0 to not 10, but 0 to 100 in about 3 seconds. Don't do this, and didn't I tell you, blah, blah, blah. You know, you're quick to discipline instead of talking to the child, talking in the child, not at the child. I watch you, and you talk to your children to help them understand why they're doing what they're doing, and help them to grow and become a better child, and why they shouldn't do what they're doing, and helping them to grow. So I want to say to the audience in closing that, you know, whomever you are, I hope you get something from this. It's not too late to change. If you find yourself somewhere in this audio, in this broadcast where you were yelling at your children, or you're still yelling at your children, or you're hard on them, or you may be hitting them, or you know you're really tough, borderline abuse, or God forbid if it is abuse, it's not too late to, number one, get help if you need it. Number two, to change. And then finally, congratulations and thank you so much to all of you who are trying and those who are doing a phenomenal job. Because number one, you had your baby and you made an impact in that child's life because you could have chosen another route. Well, thank you so much again. Thank you, Chyna. I'm reaching for your hand. Don't leave me hanging like that. This again is the Triple T Josie Gray Show. We so appreciate you. Please like and share. You'll see our contact information on the screen. If this broadcast has impacted or touched you, you have questions, you need help, you're concerned about the way things are going in your children's lives, reach out to us. We can direct you to places where you can get help if we can't provide it. Thank you so much again. Look forward to talking to us next week. And thank you. We are back. We're sorry we've been gone away, but thank you for not giving up on us. Make it a great one. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.